You know, after I made that last video, bullshit flag on the play, I got a letter from one of my Marine buddies who just recently returned from Afghanistan. Was kind of pissed off that I was talking shit about the military guarding the dope, which is true. That's not a conspiracy. Okay? And he says, you know, I need to come with more proof about this New World Order. More solid proof if I really want people in the military to listen to me. I need to come out with things that are not conspiracies and are proving facts of history showing they have any kind of agenda even remotely related to what I claim about the New World Order. Well, first off, all my videos are filled with facts. I try to not deal with conspiracy. So I took and went and did some digging around the internet here. And I verified each one of these things through multiple sources. And this is what I can come up with to show you, through my first try, proven facts of what I believe is the New World Order, a segment of it, okay? So we got John Rockefeller Jr. here, okay? He's the son of John Rockefeller, the guy that started the Rockefeller Empire. Okay, let's look at some of the things he's done. The University of Chicago. If you guys know anything about that, that's a heavy, heavy leftist, communist, socialist type of college. If you look at the ideology of the people that come out of the University of Chicago, it's all that socialist mindset. Started the League of Nations, which was the precursor to the United Nations. The League of Nations fell apart when World War II started because supposedly it was going to stop all wars, just like the UN was going to stop all wars, okay? The Ludlow Massacre. If you guys don't know about the Ludlow Massacre, there was a group of Union miners striking against Rockefeller, and he sent in the National Guard and had them wipe out, I believe, 20 of the people. They just went in there and opened fire on them. Basically the same thing the Chinese did in Tiananmen Square. Okay, so now we can go ahead and add the Ludlow Massacre to Ruby Ridge and Waco and all those type of things. He started the CFR in 1921. Started the national parks. Well, he helped fund the national parks. I wouldn't really say he started them. He bought a lot of them. And he was also responsible for a lot of the people that got forced out of their houses. I still have a video I haven't got up from Smoky Mountain National Park that talks about this issue. Okay? But if you guys want to look into the history of the national parks, you will see that Rockefeller forced these people out of their homes, took the lands from them. Some people were allowed to stay until their family name died off. Alright? And he also, John Rockefeller, was a major funding of the UN and helped get it going through the help of his son Nelson. Now you guys know who Nelson Rockefeller is, right? His ties to history. And one other thing about the national parks here, if you, okay, as I showed you in my video, Look Rock at Great Smoky Mountain National Park, I told you about Man in the Biosphere, which is a UN program tying these national parks around the world all together to the UN, okay? So if you go look at the mission statement for Man and the Biosphere, and then you go read the Georgia Guidestones, you will see that the mission statement for Man and the Biosphere almost exactly is word for word of one of the 10 Commandments on the Georgia Guidestones. Alright? So here's what John Rockefeller Jr. has done for us so far. Okay? Well, one other thing he did was he had a grandson, David Rockefeller. Well, let's take a look at some of the stuff David Rockefeller has done. Graduated from Harvard. Seems pretty nice. In his thesis, he talked about how great Fabian socialism is. Now, I have heard of the Fabian Socialist Club, but I didn't know the true definition of what Fabian socialism is. Fabian socialism is the idea or the mindset. Here, let me look at what I wrote down so I can have the exact wording. Fabian socialism, bringing about communism by gradualist and reformist means. Now, if you don't know what gradualist and reformist is, you're going to have to Google that on your own. Alright? But basically what he's saying is he wants to bring about socialism through gradual means. Now, anybody that knows anything about the NWO, they do their stuff gradually, over time, little by little. They gradually take our rights away. They gradually force us into corporations to buy insurance and other things, healthcare. All right? So, I mean, if you look at what all us conspiracy nuts say about the NWO, it totally falls in line with Fabian socialism, which is what Rockefeller wrote his thesis on. Okay? That totally fits right together. Snap, click, pop, like a freaking Lego. Alright? So David Rockefeller, look at some of the things he did. He went and started the Trilateral Commission in 1972. And he did this by going to the Chase Manhattan financial forums in London, Brussels, Montreal, and Paris, and kind of floating the idea of what he wanted the Trilateral Commission to be, which would be, the Trilateral Commission would be of help to government by providing measured judgment. Okay? And Hillary Clinton even recently said this in an interview. Now I don't have to go so far to get my measured judgment. I don't know if you guys caught that news article. But she was actually kind of taking a play off of Rockefeller from when he founded this. So he travels around to the Chase Manhattan Financial Forums in 1972, and everybody in all these forums are really big on the idea of the Trilateral Commission. So then he takes it to the Bilderbergs, who is kind of like the head of all of this, who his grandpa, John Jr., is a member of, and David Rockefeller has been seen there, so we can assume he's a member of. Alright, so he takes it to the Bilderbergs meeting, and he gets the green light from the Bilderbergs to go ahead and start the Trilateral Commission. Now, a little bit of history behind the Bilderbergs real quick. The Bilderbergs were first started by a $30,000 donation from the Ford Foundation. The Ford Foundation was started by Henry Ford, but the Rockefellers had a hand in getting that going. Alright? Now, when the Bilderbergs were being founded, there was a prince, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but there was a prince that was involved in starting the Bilderbergs, who was buddies with, what's his name here, who was buddies with Walter Bedell Smith. Okay, that's a WBS, who was the CIA director at the time. And this prince actually got Walter Bedell Smith to talk to FDR, if I remember right. I didn't write that down. I believe it was FDR. And that is how the American government first attended a Bilderberg meeting, was through this prince talking to a CIA director, then talking to people within the government trying to persuade FDR, or whoever the president was at the time. If you Google Bilderbergs, I use Wikipedia as the start for all of this, okay? I'm going to take a little tangent real quick here to teach you guys how to accurately use Wikipedia, because the shit on there is lots of times not right. Okay, so last night started off by John Rockefeller. Then it names all his grandsons, one of which is David Rockefeller, so I clicked on that. It took me to his Wikipedia page. And as I'm reading down his Wikipedia page, I come to the part talking about where he went to Harvard and wrote his thesis on Fabian socialism. As I said earlier, I didn't know what that was, so I clicked on Fabian socialism. And Fabian socialism, you know, it says the quote I just ran to you earlier, bringing about communism by gradualist and reformist means. Well, I didn't know what gradualist was. I knew what reformist was, but not gradualist. So I checked out what gradualist is. Okay? And then I took and went to independent websites away from Wikipedia, not attached to Wikipedia, to verify what Wikipedia had said about Fabian socialism and gradualists, or gradualism. Okay? That's how you have to use Wikipedia. You have to click down, and when you get to something that you don't yet know is a fact, click on that, and then take and go to a site completely away from Wikipedia to verify it. Okay? So now Rockefeller takes the Trilateral Commission idea in front of the Bilderbergs. They give the green light. He gets it going. Well, some of the first chairman or presidents, whatever they call them, of the Trilateral Commission was Alan Greenspan and Paul Volcker. Do you know what jobs they ended up with? Yeah, they ended up as heads of the Federal Reserve. Okay, well, since we're at the Federal Reserve, let's look at a little history behind that real quick. Federal Reserve was first put out, the Federal Reserve Act was first brought up by a guy named Nelson Aldrich, a guy who is married to the sister of one of the Rockefellers, or the daughter, okay? He's directly married into the Rockefeller family, okay? Also has proven strong ties to J.P. Morgan. So he brings up this Federal Reserve Act. He gets it going, and that's how the Federal Reserve Act comes about. Now, in 1944, there was the Bretton Woods Agreement that was held at the Bretton Woods Hotel in 1944. And that is what helped America to really get into being globalized. Okay, you need to go and check out the 1944 Bretton Woods Agreement, do some study, and I'm not going to go into that whole story. Okay, but that right there is what really got us rolling into globalization, okay? Through a man who is married into the Rockefeller family. How convenient. Okay, well, what else has happened at the Bretton Woods Hotel? Well, in 1944, David Rockefeller got the IMF going there. And in 1944, David Rockefeller got the World Bank going there. Alright? Now, do you guys see how this all just kind of right flows from one man down to the Federal Reserve? Look how much control this one family and its ideals has over our country and our world now. Okay? Now, this doesn't prove any satanic kill off the world, none of that stuff, okay? This proves that, one, this family has this belief right here, and he got this from his grandpa, which you guys can do some research. Okay, he got his socialism beliefs from his grandpa. Alright? So you guys will see how it ties all right conveniently together, and how people that they have trained coming up the ladder in one organization get moved up to jobs further up in the organization, giving them more control over American policy. Alright? And as I said, the man in the biosphere thing that they've attached to our national parks is almost word for word of one of the commandments on the Georgia Guidestones. University of Chicago, big lefty school. Alright, so, I mean, that's basically it right there, okay? I don't know how else to put this out to you guys to make you understand what the hell is going on here. I don't see what else it's going to take. And you can see the same names and the same organizations taking control of shit over and over and over again. And to me, the biggest proof that they want a one world government isn't they funded the League of Nations or the United Nations. It is, one, his own admission about Fabian socialism, but two, there's a video out there of David Rockefeller thanking the members of the press for keeping the agenda of the Bilderbergs secret for the last 40 years, because had they talked about it, the Bilderbergs could not have succeeded under the bright lights and scrutiny of the media and the public. So here you go, people. I mean, really, if you really seriously want to learn some shit, start your research right here and then just look at how this stuff right here ties to everything. These are the people ruling our world right now. Alright? So, there you go. I don't know what else to tell you, man. If you ain't getting it by now, you're just too fucking stupid to get it. And that's all there is to it, because I don't know. I've put all the information out there about this that I feel like I can. I'm working on something called the NWO timeline. I'll have that out soon. And after the NWO timeline, I don't see how I can help you guys understand this, because I've given you the basis for all of this. Between this video and Bullshit Flag on the Play, and once I put up the video NWO timeline, if you can't get it through those 3 videos, you ain't never gonna get it, okay? So, here's the proof. Here's what you need to do your research. Start digging. May the Republic stand strong. God bless America.